We start with some breaking news. The football legend Pele has died. The former Brazil star, who won 3 World Cups, passed away from cancer at the age of 82. Football is now mourning the man often cited as the greatest.
Cristiano, let me start just by asking you, why are you doing this interview?
Because I think it's the time to say something.
December 2022. It has gone down as one of the most important periods in football's history because some major events happened to 3 individuals who have the biggest claim to the title greatest of all time. From Messi finally getting his hands on the trophy he desired the most, to Ronaldo leaving Europe and joining Al Nassr, to Pele tragically passing away. The events that took place during December will have an everlasting impact on their legacies and how us, the fans, view them. For years, the missing piece in Messi's trophy cabinet was the World Cup, something that some felt he needed to win to truly put an end to the Maradona comparisons. Now, that's not to say Messi already didn't have a strong claim to being the greatest Argentine and footballer in general, but the World Cup was something that both Pele and Maradona always had over him. And after coming up just short of winning it in 2014 and a forgettable campaign in 2018, the 2022 World Cup was his last chance of getting his hands on that trophy, which he did. My favorite football commentator and a poet, Peter Jory, perfectly described it. Messi has conquered his final peak. Messi has shaken hands with paradise. But that's not to say the road was easy. In fact, Messi's Argentina were one step out of the tournament by the end of the first game, after a shocking defeat to Saudi Arabia. But Messi himself brought Argentina back from the dead in the second game against Mexico. And the rest, as we all watched, is history. Not only Messi won the World Cup, but he did it while setting some new records. And here are some of them. No player has played more games at the World Cup than Messi. He sits at the top of the list, having played 26 games. He's the only player to win the competition's Best Player award twice. He became Argentina's all-time top goal scorer in the tournament, surpassing the likes of Maradona and Batistuta. He has now won the most Man of the Match awards, 4 more than Ronaldo, who sits in second place. But perhaps the most impressive record Messi broke during the World Cup is the total number of goals and assists by a single player in the competition's history. Check this out. Since 1930, when the tournaments first began, no player has managed to have more goal contributions at the World Cup than Messi. He recently won the FIFA Best Player award, largely thanks to his performances at the World Cup, while also currently being the favorite to win the next Ballon d'Or, which will be his 8th, breaking the record for the player with the most Ballon d'Ors, a record that he himself holds. After nearly 20 years of playing at some of Europe's biggest clubs such as Sporting, Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus, Ronaldo terminated his contract with United in December and moved to Middle East, joining Al Nassr. And his departure from United was an ugly one, as he publicly blasted the owners and questioned Erik ten Hag in an interview with Piers Morgan. I mean, who would have thought that doing an interview with this guy could go wrong? Putting all the drama aside, before the tournament, Ronaldo made it clear that he felt great physically and he was looking to make a statement at the World Cup. And things were initially going great as he scored in Portugal's first game in the World Cup, where they beat Ghana. But everything started to go downhill after the second game, and by the time the knockout stages began, Ronaldo was on the bench. Portugal eventually got knocked out by Morocco, and that's where Ronaldo's World Cup story comes to an end. But after the interview with Piers Morgan and Portugal's elimination from the World Cup, the next step for Ronaldo was choosing a new club. Some sources say he had options in Europe, some say nobody wanted him. Regardless, Ronaldo decided to pick Al Nassr as his next club, becoming the highest paid athlete in the world. If we go by the numbers, we can see the Saudi League is not great. In terms of quality, it's around the same as England's 2nd or 3rd division. And we can see this through numbers. Some notable players who have joined the Saudi League in recent years from Europe's best leagues have seen their numbers improve. Take Banega, for example, who had his best season in terms of goals and assists after moving to Saudi Arabia. We can also see the same pattern with Al Hilal strikers Igalo and Marega. Each of these players saw their numbers improve when they joined the league, and Ronaldo is no exception. In 9 games so far, he has managed to score score 8 goals and provide 2 assists. In other words, about 1 goal contribution a game. These are far better numbers than what he was averaging at United last year. I don't think anyone can deny that money played a big part in Ronaldo's decision to move to Al Nassr, but his move to Riyadh transcends goals or assists. It's about Saudi Arabia being associated with one of the most recognizable and famous people in the entire world, and Ronaldo's presence could help the Saudi League and the Asian football as a whole take that next step. Nowadays, every big media outlet and many football fans keep up with the Saudi League solely because of Ronaldo. Whether it's a hat-trick, a skill move, or opposition fans chanting Messi's name at him, no one can deny that the Saudi League has been more relevant than ever before thanks to Ronaldo, which is something that is a big positive for Ronaldo's legacy in football because it's beyond what he does on the pitch. And who knows, he might pull a Zlatan and return to Europe for one last dance. When great artists pass away, their works instantly become much more valuable. And in some ways, it's the same in football. Pele's passing made generations of football fans who never watched him realize the true magnitude of the impact he had on the sport. From being the pioneer of some of the most commonly used dribbling moves, shooting techniques, and playmaking tricks, to setting numerous mind-blowing records throughout his career. For example, he is the youngest player to score at the World Cup and the youngest to win it. As we all know, Pele is also the only player to win the World Cup 3 times. He scored 92 hat-tricks throughout his career, more than anyone else in history. He scored 757 goals in official games and 1,282 if you count friendlies. And it's worth mentioning that back then many of the friendlies were played at a very high competitive level. And these crazy records and many more were brought back to spotlight recently, which reminded people why Pele is still regarded as the GOAT by many, especially those from his generation. The topic of this video is December 2022, so it wouldn't be right if we also didn't talk about the best player of the new generation, who greatly expanded his legacy during that same month. Of course, I'm talking about Kylian Mbappe. Despite France not being able to go back-to-back, Mbappe still had a historic tournament. First, he helped end the champions' curse by getting France to move past the group stages, something that previous champions Germany, Spain, and Italy couldn't do. He won the competition's top goal scorer award after scoring a hat-trick in the final, something only 2 players have done in history. Oh, and if you're wondering who that other player was, it's Geoff Horst, a member of that 1966 England team that won the World Cup. Even if France lost, Mbappe was the biggest winner of the night besides Messi, because his performance in the final will go down as one of the biggest highlights of his career. As I previously said, last December was one of the most important periods in football's history because of all the things that happened to key figures within the sport, and the true scale of its impact might not even be visible until many years have passed. Anyways, that was it for this video. Let me know what you think about December of 2022 in the comments. If you want to help out the channel, leave a like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter if you want. Until next time.